What's up guys, Chris here from Mainely Mesh, and welcome to my review of the STX Rival helmet. STX did a great job of keeping this product development under wraps until really the NCAA Final Four, at which point it burst onto the scene. It was pretty cool seeing a bunch of different teams customize versions, and really has caused a lot of stir ever since. I would be remiss if I did not talk a little bit about all the STX helmet fiasco with the Stallion line. In case you guys missed it, there was all this hubbub about STX declaring that the Cascade R wasn't NOC certified. Cascade had to make a fix to their helmet. It was pretty crazy. It was interesting, but I think it ended up being better for the market overall, but caused a lot of hate for the original Stallion. It was a pretty different look, so the Rival really redeemed STX, I think, in a lot of ways, mostly aesthetically, but I'll dig into this as much as I can. Unfortunately, I can't go into the nitty-gritty that I like to usually go into, mostly because a lot of the data behind helmets isn't publicized because they're worried about lawsuits regarding concussions. So if you kind of went out and even accidentally convince somebody that this helmet would decrease your chance of a concussion, you could get in a lot of trouble litigation-wise. So there isn't really that much data. So, you know, they say it's super protective, but I can't really compare and contrast versus any Cascade model, any Warrior model, anything like that. So all I can really do is talk about the aesthetic, talk about some of the design features, and then go from there. First off, aesthetic. I really like this aesthetic compared to the Stallion helmet. Obviously, both models were super customizable. This one is just as crazy customizable. There's a ton of different options. You can go to the STX customizer in the link down below. I will probably forget to add it there, but if you want to see some custom options there. So that's a really cool feature. They basically kind of condensed the shape, so it's a very rounded shape, which is interesting. They do include this little fin on the back, similar to Cascade models, but seems to have been pretty well received, and I think some of the college versions that we saw during the Final Four were really sweet looking. Should be a lot of good aesthetic options with this helmet. In case you didn't know, there is some Shut branding on these helmets. Basically, STX is licensing some Shut technology, so if you want to dig into a little bit more into the technology, you can go to the Shut website, but really there isn't all that much more there. As far as the protective aspects of this head, there is what basically Shut's proprietary Tpu Cushioning System. All that really is you've kind of seen these like cones in the past, so it's a thermal polyurethane. It's a type of plastic that disperses force pretty well. They do this kind of cone design, which I believe basically they're channeling the force, you know, the impact force of the ball into a wider section down. Basically, whenever you're trying to design a helmet, you're trying to disperse as much impact force as possible, spread it over a wider area, which decreases the impulse. They do use an EVA foam in the front, which is basically just kind of a standard plastic. Seems to be the way the market is trending for kind of front impacts, which is interesting because that kind of tells me that the foam actually works better for ball impacts, right? You're usually getting a shot to the face. In theory, a lot of kids turn their heads, which I try to train kids not to do, but you're gonna do it, it's natural. So they have a foam in the front, then the TPU cushioning around the sides, and the crown of the head. That was the big point of contention back with the R, was that the crown wasn't protected enough. So it seems that both STX and Cascade have gone with kind of that style of, I think, what's the Cascade version called? I can't remember, but it's a similar like cone design that they use in the crown now. The most novel thing on this helmet is this new kind of bladder system for fit, and I was really excited about this from the beginning because it's hard to have a lot of customizability. You know, companies are trying to keep as small of a SKU line as possible, right? So the fewest number of products on the market. These are really expensive to make. Cascade accounts for the one size fit all by having that little scrunchy thingy in the back of the helmet, right? Basically what STX did is they have this bladder here that you kind of pump up just like you would your Air Max shoes, and that kind of fills any gaps in the head. There is one big issue with it though. So I have an average size head, right? Slightly larger than normal, but nothing crazy. What's interesting about this, when I put on the Shut helmet, I feel it the tightest front to back, right? So it is pretty wide, but it's a little short front to back, and when I push the little bladder, it only fills front to back. So it's adding pressure in a place that I actually don't need it. So I was kind of surprised. I wish it had been a little more all-encompassing as far as the fit goes. Like if they could have just had a ring around and the air would kind of fill in the gaps. So I think that was kind of a bummer that really didn't live up to my expectations there. And the only other sizing issue, this is the large extra large. So the Stallion actually had a bunch of different sizing options. This only goes to the large and extra large, and so if you have a super big head, this is not going to fit you. You're going to have the same issues. If you don't fit into a Cascade S or an R, you're not going to be able to fit into this. Sorry to tell you that, but that's the truth. STX has a whole sizing thing on their website, so I think they say like if your hat size or whatever it is, like 7 3/4 or something, that's their upper limit. So at least they're straightforward about it, but if you've got a huge dome, not going to be able to cram it in here. So lastly, the thing they advertise is the whole airflow system. There's some holes in the back, which your head kind of fills up, so that really doesn't make that much of a difference. Basically, they're trying to channel the air through the top of the head out the back. I wouldn't say it's as ventilated as the S is, but it does a decent job. Honestly, that's not really something I ever think about when I'm on the field. If I'm hot, I'm hot. I don't know. So I think sometimes you notice it more when it's like 0 degrees out and you almost wish it weren't so ventilated. I remember some of my buddies in college like taping paper towels into the vents, but it's pretty good in that regard. Give you a little aesthetic look. The other issue I have with it, it's pretty tight on the sides when you're trying to get the helmet on. So as you can see, it's a pretty kind of standard fit. It's got some decent tilt, but I really do feel the most pressure front to back. And then if I pump it up at all, it's still filling in those gaps front to back. Should I put my glasses back on?
I can do it. I can do it. Maybe. Ow. Poke myself in the eye. Come on.
Swag. But it's a really solid fit. Not concussed. So scientific. Ow. See, so it's a little tight there down around the jawline. But overall, I think it's a really nice helmet. Then you have this little release valve. That's all I have for you right now. Thanks so much to STX for sending this bad boy over. I will do a comparison video with the S only if I get more data on these helmets, right? A good amount of it is preference, a lot of it is style, a lot of it is what pricing your team is getting. I definitely would feel safe in this helmet. I don't have any worries there. I feel safe in the S. I feel pretty safe in the R, you know. There's not too much to differentiate it past that other than the customizability, right? So it's a good looking helmet. I like it a lot. If you guys have any specific questions or things you'd like to look into or like me to look into, if I were to compare this and the S or this and the R, please let me know down below, and I'm gonna keep asking, keep bugging. No promises there, just because, like I said, there's so many issues with potential litigation out there and people suing because they got concussed. At the end of the day, lacrosse is a pretty safe sport, so I'm not too worried about that, but the rival should treat you pretty well. Thanks so much, guys. Hope you liked this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. You know the deal. Tell your friends about this channel. I am now back on a once-a-week schedule, so you're going to get new videos every Sunday. I hope you enjoy that, and hopefully that should be a good low bar for me to stay consistent so you guys can always bet on something every week. But thanks so much, guys. Catch you guys next time.